Namaste to all the viewers that have joined us today. Welcome to another episode of Indic Talks organized by the Center for Indic Studies. In today's episode, we will be recounting the Odia martial legacy from an Indian perspective. It will be a compilation of some not so well-known events from Odisha's 2900 plus years of martial legacy and its impact from an Indian perspective. This talk is an ode to the valor of Odia bravehearts and trailblazers whose contributions to Bharatvarsha's geopolitics and martial domination against looming foreign invasions and threats is invaluable and matchless. To deliver this same lecture, we have our speaker today, Shree Soumya Ranjan Panda ji, who is an avid heritage and culture enthusiast, a keen learner of martial, linguistic, artistic, and spiritual Odia heritage and its influence and contribution on geopolitical situations, socio-economical status, and cultural legacy on the greater Bharatvarsh. I welcome you, sir, and request you to take over from here.
So, Namaskar, Jai Jagannath, everyone. My name is Soumya Ranjan Panda, and I'm here with this talk, Deshanam, Utkala, Smrutah. First of all, thank you so much for being here, devoting your time for this talk. It means a lot. Thank you so much. Thank you, Indus University, for this opportunity. Coming to the talk, Deshanam, Utkala, Smrutah. Anyone here knows the meaning of Smrutah? Can type it out and also we can just say it out from the chat for me if anyone knows, or we can go ahead. Okay, so Smrutah means something which should be remembered, something that must be remembered for a long time. Now, Deshanam Utkala Smrutah, this verse I have taken from Kapila Samhita, and the whole of the verse is Varsanam Bharata Shrishta Deshanam Utkala Smrutah Utkalasya Samodesha Deshanasti Maitara, which basically talks about between countries, India is the greatest one, Bharata Shrishta, and between the kingdoms, Utkala is Smrutah. Utkala is something which should be remembered. And this is the context of this, for this context of the talk, that this verse was fitting properly, so I've taken it, Deshanam Utkala Smrutah. But unfortunately, martial history and otherwise also of Odisha has been long forgotten, especially from a pan-Indian perspective. Hence, this is a small trial to propagate it up. Coming to the summary of the presentation, a compilation of some not well so known event from Odisha's 2900 year plus martial legacy and its overall impact in a pan-Indian perspective. Well, before going into the talk, why I am doing this again? The problem with Indian mainstream history, as per the academicians especially, is mostly it is very, like the rulers of Pataliputra followed by the rulers of Delhi. That's all. Fortunately, a very minor population of Indic intellectuals during the recent times have started conversation about the Rajputs, Marathas, Cholas, even Ahoms. But again, sadly, Odia martial history, even in that society, does not exist much, or maybe not that significant. This is not just bad for Odisha's perspective, but it is harmful for us together from a pan-Indian perspective, because we should know at least basic of our history, especially the glorious chapters that has been done by Indic rulers, especially when it is about the martial legacy. Before going again into the presentation, let us talk a bit about the different names of Odisha, Utkala, Kalinga, Odisha, whatever you want to call it. Kalinga, Utkala, Tosali, Tosala, Trikalinga, Konga, Udra, Uttradesa. All these were actually, and many more actually, but the names which originated from this land, from Odisha only. There are many other names which have been given to Odisha, Kalinga, whatever you want to say it, from foreign origin, which I have not included in this slide. The earliest record of martial legacy of Odisha comes from Karakandu Charayu, a book which talks about the bull among the kings, Abhikannya Karamandu, who is who was a Chakravarti Samrat of 9th century before Common Era. That is 3,000 years, almost 3,000 years before today. So I have included this just to highlight that antiquity of martial lineage of Kalinga. He was a ruler who was Chakravarti of his time, and then he was given epithet like the bull among the kings, which even many people now in Odisha have used it, Kalinga Sanda and all. He was also known as Pratyaksha Buddha. All these two epithets were given to him by Jaina Bhagavan Mahavira. He was a contemporary of Parshvanatha. Not going very much detail into his life and legacy, I've just included it to highlight the antiquity. Coming to the main part of today's presentation, that is a antique and unbroken continuity of martial might between 12th century Common Era to 15th century Common Era. Before going into the facts, so how many of you have heard this term 800 Saal Ki Gulami? The whole of India have been ruled and subjugated by foreign invaders or rulers for 800 plus years, which I found very offensive because this is simply a wrong fact. And because if you see, for an example, Cuttack, fall of Cuttack happened in 1568, and then in 130 or so year, there were British. And then in between there were Marathas and others as well. Yes, there were loots, plunders, destruction happened between those 100 plus years. But it was never fully conquered. And when we are saying 800 Saal Ki Gulami, it is a very wrong fact. And I see many people agreeing to that. That is also a problem. And coming a bit back from that era, when India was witnessing first jolt of invasion, there was a kingdom flourishing with martial glory and building architectural grenadiers. If we'll talk about Puri, Jagannath Temple, Konark, then Lingaraj Temple, everything was built in this era only, 10th, 11th, 12th century. Yes, I'm talking about the Eastern Gangas or Prachya Gangas or Rudi Gangas, what we wish to call them, and then the Suryavanshi Gajapatis, who have created a very spectacular and unbroken martial domination starting from 12th century to 15th century. Today's presentation will be much of about them, and we'll touch here and there a bit about the other rulers as well. For this presentation sake, we'll start backward. Means we'll start from 15th century, and we'll start from the Suryavanshi Gajapatis, Kapilendra Deva, and then we'll go backward. Till the turn of 15th century, most part of Indian subcontinent was succumbed to the ruthless invasion of Turko Afghans, which had caused mass-scale destruction, mass chaos, and destruction, temple destruction, ruthless rules to the natives. But by the time it was Matta Vanudeva, the ruler of Kalinga, by his time also Kalinga was intact. You will see this tiny piece was ruled by Rudi Gangas, and then adjacent to that there are semi-independent native rulers only. But that time's military as well as the administrative policies were not able to keep up to the time's geopolitics, so it was in wars of collapse. Multi-directional threats were looming in Odisha's border in form of Bengal Sultanate, then Jaunpur Sultanate, Delhi Sultanate, Malwa Sultanate, Bahamani Sultanate, and all. Fortunately for Odisha, with the grace of Mahaprabhu Singhanatha, there came a Suryavanshi Samrat, as if the blazing sun in the Indian sky, again signed with full glory by cleaning out the hostile clouds. Yes, this map change, if you'll see, this is just in how many 1535 to 1564, within 30 or 40 years, 30 years. So that was the impact of Gajapati Kapilendra Deva, on whom poets have written Karnata Jwasasimha Kalavara Gajai Malava Dhunsa Shila Dangala Gauda Mardi Brahmara Varanupa Dosta Dillindra Garbam Sangrame Dushtumenam Prativata Subatam Kevalam Kevalante Jesam Sayakanari Kuchakala Satati Kunkuma Sangarangam Chandeko Dandadande Satadabi Samare Jasya Sansakta Kande Tesam Nityavi Gajapati Vijayam Vairajale Kapale Gajapati Gaudeswara Navakoti Karnataka Kalavargeswara Trikalingadipati Viradi Viravara Brahmaravara Dantiraja Rautare Kapilendra Deva. Karnataka Jwasa Singh, who jumped like a lion to Karnataka, and Kalabaragajai, the winner of Bahamani Sultanate, Malwa Dhunshashila, the restorer of Malwa Sultanate, Gaudamardi, the restorer of Bengal Sultanate, Brahmaravara Nrupa, the king who was the commander of ship himself in the battles. Dosta Dillindra Garmam. Dillindra means the Indra or this thing, the ruler of Delhi, that is Delhi Sultan. Sangram Idushturnam and goes on and goes on. A king who came from very humble background, born as a commoner, raised as a soldier, made it to the highest military post as we discussed. Brahmaravara, before becoming the king, he was a military in chief also. An emperor who not only reinstalled the lost domination of Kalinga, but gradually became the most powerful king of 14th century India with unbelievably large kingdom, in spite of all the mighty enemies like Bengal Sultanate, Jaunpur Sultanate, Malwa Sultanate, Bahamani Sultanate, Vijayanagara Empire as well. He had to simultaneously fight, very importantly. It is very unfortunate that India has almost forgotten him. Let's explore about him through his epithets. This is a map created by Mr. Manjit Kesari Naik about his all his battles and wars and pathway. We'll see the pathway in a bit time. So, being a person from very common background, he knew the real situation, and absolutely he has worked in the army as well. So he was very sure about the countermeasures. Made an army multifold, and the first king in medieval India. He was very how to say? He was very popular within his subjects. He made the first king who made long before the salt ban revolt. He has made the salt free of tax, banned salt tax, and he was a very adherent devotee of Mahaprabhu Sri Janatha, hence the Rauta epithet, and very popular. So the epithet Gajapati, though was used before him also by the Rudigangas, from this time onwards, Gajapati became the main epithet of the kings of Kalinga. And this epithet comes from the unmatched elephant force. Throughout history, you will see many scholars, both Indic and outside of India, have written great thing about the elephants of Odisha. So this epithet Gajapati was, was ornamented to Gajapati Kapilendra Deva because of his unmatched elephant force that he has possessed. In Burani Masir, a book written from Bahamani's perspective, enemy's perspective, I want to stress on this. It is written that the Sultan of Bahamani has been humiliated by comparing his force of 200 elephants with 2 lakhs that of the Gajapati Kapilendra Deva in a battle. So in a battle, when the Sultan came with 200 elephants, the Gajapati's force was almost of lakhs and lakhs. Yes, it might feel a bit exaggerated, which rightly many historians have pointed out, but we have to take into account that it was written from an enemy's perspective. Enemy has written, and enemies never exaggerate. But anyway, just to prove that he was having a great elephant force. Gaudeswara, again, because of the extraordinary battlefield glory he had against the Bengal Sultanate, not just monumentary defeat or something, he had mostly, dissolved majority of the Bengal Sultanate into his kingdom. The Odia forces led by Minister Gopinath Mahapatra conquered territories of Bengal to the west of Gangas even, and which included Gadbandar and all, eventually made it to the capital Goda also. Navakoti Karnataka, there are 2 theories for this epithet, Navakoti Karnataka. First one was practically he was controlling, ruling over all of Bahamani and Vijayanagara place. So Karnataka being this area, he was controlling both living and non-living, that is non-crowd objects of this place. So Koti means crowd, and that's why Navakoti Karnataka. But there is another properly logical, more logical theory as well, backed by the Arcot inscription of Tamil Nadu, where it is said that he was in control of 9 forts, 9 advanced forts of his southern border, deep inside Tamil Nadu. So that's why, and Koti, we know in Sanskrit also means type. Also, Kota in many southern languages means fort. That's why 9 forts of Karnataka. And those forts, again, according to the Arcot district inscription which was found, were these 9 forts: Kondapalli, Tiruvallur, Adanki, Vinukonda, Vilamukonda, Kodaividu, then Tiruchinappalli, Chandragiri, Udayagiri, these 9 forts. Coming to Kalavargeswara, before going into exactly Kalavargeswara, I want to discuss a bit about its south domination. Basically, Navakoti Karnataka Kalavargeswara decode is southern domination. The epithet Navakoti Karnataka Kalavargeswara, see, every September 17, if most of you, I believe, would know, that we celebrate Hyderabad Liberation Day, honoring Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel's strong move that stopped suffering of Hyderabad Hindus from the oppressive Rajakaras under Nizam. Long ago, almost how much, 570 or 75 years ago, in the same region, this story was already happened. So that Hyderabad Liberation Movement was a deja vu of this movement, I must say. So the story is the powerful Bahmani Sultan. This is come from this area. So the powerful Bahmani Sultan, which was basically the Sultanate was led by Alauddin Ahmad Shah, to control of Telangana, oppressing local Hindus. Sanjar Khan, a very infamous barbaric leader appointed by Ahmad Shah, treated Hindus very brutally, causing fear and suffering. There are still many folklores, Kattu poems, Telugu poems on his brutality. On the other hand, the eldest son of Gadapati Kapilendra Deva, that is Deshanam Kupara Ambira Deva, seized Rajamundri by this time, and after that, he went and clashed with the Bahmanis, with Sanjar Khan, and defeated him. And that's how the southern Abhijan, as we say, that started. After that, he went on and captured Kondavidu Fort, one of the very strategic fort of South India. And he didn't stop here. Also went on, by the time, one more story. The Vellavanas of Devarakonda were originally allies of vassals of Bahmanis, but with time they declared independence, and against that Himansa, the then Bahmani Sultan, was chasing Madalinga, the Vellava chief. And finding a way out, Madalinga pleaded Kapilendra Deva for help. Kapilendra Deva now responded positively despite an army under the command of, again, Prince Ambira Deva. The combined force of Odisha and Devarakonda hammered Bahmani troops. Following the battle, Madalinga become the vassal of Kapilendra Deva, and that's how Devarakonda fort came into Gajapati territory. Now, this is a map which describes very neatly about all his wars and battles, the route of the march of Gajapati army. The orange one are confirmed with tangible evidence. The green ones are confirmed, but not very. I mean, you don't get tangible evidence. There are theories and there are intangible evidence, strong intangible evidence of the same. The rectangle ones are defensive one. I've taken this from a book called Gajapati Kapilendra Deva by Mr. Nyananda. So, after making a strong base in Devarakonda, the Odia forces went on and seized the fort of Warangal. There is a very interesting inscription from Warangal fort. I've taken the abstract of it here. Now let's talk about the capture of the fort by Amavira Kumara Mahapatra, son of Gadapati Kapilendra Maharaj. So this proves it was Ambira Deva, and he has captured Warangal. And seized basically Warangal, and after that they didn't stop there. They went to Gulbarga, whose ancient name is Kalavarga, and that's why, because they have annexed Kalavarga or Gulbarga, Gajapati Kapilendra is also known as Kalavargeswara. That's how the name Kalavargeswara comes. And after that also they didn't stop. They went to Bidar, annexed Bidar not once but 2 times, which was the Bahmani capital of that time. And after that, we can say the Gajapati forces have truly taken revenge against the atrocity that was performed by the Bahmanis and the natives. This historical episode, as I have already highlighted, has similarity with Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel ending the atrocities of Rajakaras. It highlights the importance of leaders and understanding the geopolitical situation of that time and being committed to the people. Unfortunately, this remarkable achievement of Gadapati Kapilendra Deva have not got its due respect in a very pan-Indian perspective, but hopefully in future it will get. Further, they went further south. This was the complete map which we have seen a bit earlier of Gadapati Kapilendra Deva. If you see the map, Bengal Sultanate, Jaunpur Sultanate, Delhi Sultanate, Malwa Sultanate, and then Bahmani Sultanate, Vijayanagara Empire, and every one of them used to attack simultaneously at almost at the same time period. So in Munnur village of Tamil Nadu state, there are tangible evidence, inscription physically. It talks about presence of Ambira Deva there. Also the Anandavarman copper plate of Pratapruddra Deva states that Ambira Deva cleaned his blood-stained sword in the waters of Southern Sea at Rameswaram, all the way here. So that makes his map this vast. He is also known as Viradi Veeravara Kapilendra Deva because of obvious reason. Trikalinga Adhipati because he was controlling whole of Kalinga. Kanchi Kaveri Adhipati because he has the next Kanchi as well. Brahmaravara Mahapatra because Brahmaravara, as we have already discussed, the commander-in-chief before he became king, he was the commander-in-chief and a minister also. Sangrami Sahasravahu, that is because of many able generals, be it his own son, Kumara Ambira Deva Mahapatra, or his nephew Raghavendra Narendra Mahapatra, General Ganadeva Rautarai, Minister Gopinath Mahapatra, grandson and son of Ambira Deva, that is Kumara Dakshineswara Mahapatra, then Tumma Gopala, and many local leaders at various frontier, including then the Reddy chief, Velamachi, Madalinga, we have discussed. All of them were very able, and he was fortunate and blessed with all of them. That's why Sangrami Sahasravahu, 1,000 hands for multi-front attacks. Danti Raja, same as Gadapati, the king of the elephants. Rautarai, again, because he has, as per many previous kings also, declared himself just as a Rauta, servitor of Mahaprabhu Sri Jagannatha, and that's why Rautarai. About this Rautar's epithet, we will discuss in some time. Now, after Gadapati Kapilendra Deva, it's time to move a bit back. We'll go all the way back from the starting of the Gangas. So we'll move from there. We'll go again to the Ganga lineage. So from 1294 onwards, the power of the invaders was established throughout the length and breadth of India, in north and south both. During the Turkish period of our history, the only empire that remained unchallenged was Kalinga. It was throughout the Turkish ages of India, Kalinga has maintained a very strong political existence, mighty existence, extending over the vast territory from what we call Aganga Godavari, or from Ganga to Godavari. And the visionary who started it all was none other than the king who built the current Puri Jagannath temple, Kundaradhiswara, Tribalingadhipati, Kundaradhiswara, Angeswara, Anandavarman, Chudanga Deva. This is a murti of him from Chudanga Sai Puri. These are Ganga Phantoms, coins by him, on whom we might, I'm not going into very detail, maybe some other day we will discuss about him, but just we'll read this paragraph from a very famous historian, Dr. Manmat Das, and we'll go. This is a excerpt of book Glimpses of Kalinga History. So he wrote, and I quote, while every part of India had been overrun by Islam, Kalinga remained as a strong and far-flung empire for hundreds of years. She was the last great empire of the Hindu India and was that last piece of land that this subcontinent to give away to the invaders. During the first half of Muslim rules in India, Kalinga's role was one of the utmost importance and credit. While the Hindu religious sites were discredited in the north and south, both, Kalinga gave a vigor to her holy centers. The Puri Jagannath temple, Lingaraj temple, Konark, all gained prominent in this 10, 11, 12 centuries only, and further became more glorified. A role that was possible only on the part of a very strong, well-organized and well-administrated and a vast empire. Such a unique empire of the medieval Kalinga had, and his empire of the such a unique empire the medieval Kalinga had, and this empire of the medieval Kalinga was the life for and the legacy of Anandavarman Chodonga Deva. On him, we again might discuss some other day. For today, we will go to the next chapter of today's talk, that is Ananga Vimadeva or Ananga Vimadeva Tritiya. So the going a bit further, I mean, he was basically Chodonga Deva's 6th or 7th generation. The political scenario of the then Odisha was in turmoil. He came to power by 1211 and from 1211 to 1238 Common Era. The political situation was not very good, facing many challenging situations, mainly growing militarily threats from multi fronts, from all of its border. In the north, there were Turko Afghans. In the west, there were Kalachuris. And then in the south, there are Cholas. At the same time, he used to face the attacks. So after coming to power, the first thing he did was very remarkable and very, I mean, everybody should know about this. He was the very first ruler, the Rauta concept which we were talking. He was the very first ruler of Odisha who declared himself a Rauta of Mahaprabhu Sri Jagannatha, which means he is not the king. I mean, the king has declared that he is not the king, but the real king is Mahaprabhu Sri Jagannatha, and he is just a surveyor of him. And considered Mahaprabhu Sri Jagannatha as the ruler of his kingdom. Following this trend-setting decision, all subsequent rulers, even today's Puri's Maharaja, Gadavati Dipa Singha Deva, who used to do Cherapara in every Rathatra, they all have continued using the same philosophy of ruling Odisha merely as a surveyor. This is really unique. Why I'm saying is because across the globe, even at places in India, kings are worshipped as God, which is right. No harm in that. But here, the king has announced that he is not the king and God is the only king, and he has done has devoted every bit of his life to the glory of Mahaprabhu Sri Jagannatha. The epithets of him, Rauta we have declared, Durga Putra, Rudra Putra, Purushottam Putra. This again reflect his celebrative or warmth approach towards all the sects of Sanatana Dharma. We have seen kings who have been partial to particular sect, and there the other sect used to find backlash. But here the king has taken epithets from all the sects, all the major sects, all the 3 sects, and which also described in a way the Utkala Smrutah Parampara. Again, some other day on that. This is one icon of him in the Naganatha temple. Coming a bit about Katak. The very first activity after becoming king, he did a Shrestapana fortification and fortified fortified capital. Very pragmatically, he chose a location at the bifurcation of 2 rivers. If you see, Katak itself is a natural fort. Katak in Sanskrit, the word itself means fort. So if you see this location between rivers and very Avedya, which we used to call in Sanskrit. This is he named this place as Abhinava Varanasi Kataka, which is today's Katak city. At this strategic site, he also established a very powerful, strong, legendary fort, the epicenter of medieval Odisha or Kalinga's politics, war, glory, whatever you want to call, the Varavati Durga. Coming to the war activities, during this time, as I have already told, in the south there are Cholas. This is a map made by me only, not very accurate. In the south, in the west, there are Kalachuris. This area used to be buffer zones actually. Sometimes Gangos used to be in power, sometimes the Kalachuris. And then in the north, you see this green belt. This was all Delhi Sultanate and Mamluks here. So during this time, the Kalachuri king Pratap Malla was very aggressive, and in the west of Kalinga, Anavadeva dispatched his able commander Vishnu at the helm. The army clashed at Sevri Narayan, as I have shown here. Sevri Narayan is today's Chhattisgarh, which used to be the border at that time. There is a very famous Jagannath temple there also, which was established after winning this war here. So, Commander Vishnu won the war, and as rightly Chattisgarh temple inscription described about him, Vishnu Mam Yatra Pratimam Tumanna Prathipate, which basically means wherever the Tumanna king went, he becomes so afraid of Vishnu that he saw Vishnu everywhere. And regardless, he won the war, and the war is not that important here. What is important is the next event which happened after that. We know in almost every war scenario, the we what to say the the defeated party's princess used to be married with the winner party's prince. Here, that also happened. Narasingha Deva, Lama Narasingha married a Kalachari princess, but also a Kalachari prince, very brave prince, which Vishnu Mahapatra noticed, that is Paravati Deva, got married to Chandrika Devi, daughter of Anangami Deva. This was done in view of making a very strong alliance between the Eastern Gangas and Kalachari so that they can fight together the Bengal Sultanate. Sorry, that time there was no Bengal Sultanate. It was the extension of Delhi Sultanate. So it was done to countermeasure that. And unlike the conventional approach, it was a very, not very showcasing dominance or something. It was done for generations to come. This was done so that generations to come can be together and fight the Delhi Sultanate. And we'll see how that was a help, not only in this chapter, but also in the next chapter. So, coming to the north front, Ghiyasuddin Shah was the ruler of Bengal at that time, successor of the infamous Bakhtiyar Khilji. He invaded the northern territories of Odisha by sending naval war fleets over the river Mahanadi. And then again, this is the ruins of Baravati, whatever is left now. The newly built fort Baravati was in rescue. It was proved very fruitful and strong. Minister Vishnu was again combat ready and successfully managed to evade the enemy. This is Chatisar temple inscription, copy of the Chatisar temple inscription. This copy you can find in State Museum of Odisha as well. So this inscription also talks about how the Bengal Sultan was defeated, not Bengal Sultan, Mamluk Sultan was defeated by the able commander Vishnu, who was able to pull his bowstring until the ears and shut down the enemies. Also, Ananda Vasudeva temple inscription describes on how Ananga Vivadeva made the end of the war by defeating the Yavanas after entering into the Yavana territory. Means in the defensive war, he also went inside offensive defense and made it inside, deep inside the enemy territory. This is about Ananga Vivadeva. Also, a bit about his southern domination. His south expedition was also very glorious. According to the Alalnath temple inscription, Ananga Deva over in the Kanchipuram and Srirangam town in southern India, and making it deep into the Chola territory. There was a inscribed record about Queen Somala Mahadevi done very generous gift and treasure to the temple of Alalnath. This trinity, Jagannath, Balabhadra, and Subhadra trinity, present in the Vardharaja Perimal Kovil of Kanchi, is a tangible evidence of Ananga Vimadeva's presence over there. See, why I'm bringing up the story is, if you'll notice, wherever our kings went, win the enemy territory, didn't destroy anything or didn't create havoc. Rather than that, they have done something good for that society, be it for the temple or otherwise, which is a matter of great pride and we should often talk about. Now, coming to his son, Rangula Narasimha Prathama from 1238 to 1264. Ananga Vimadeva, with all his grandeur and glory, always have a very defensive strategy against his north frontier. Then came his son, Rangula Narasimha, taking the legacy of his father's supremacy a step higher. He was the one who not only made it very offensive, but mercilessly offensive against the Mamluks. He was a surgical executor of tactical retreat warfare, which how we will describe in the next slide. Almost having a 1/3 size of army than the enemies, win 3 successful battles. If you see his epithets, come on, Yavanavani Vallava, the vanquisher of or the destroyer of Yavana kingdom. Hamira Manavardhana, the Manavardhanakari or the vanquisher of the egos of Amirs of Bengal. Gajapati, the first evidence of this Gajapati epithets come from the Kapilas inscription of Narasimha. Again, Paramaheswara, Durgaputra, Purushottamputra. Going into those three battles I was discussing, Lakhnoti, Katasin. In 1242-43, Narasimha started his Bengal expedition, and which is Lakhnoti. Lakhnoti was that time's capital of the Mamluks. Not only capital, it was a link between Delhi Sultanate and them. So very important city. See, it's all the way from Cuttack all the way till here. They went deep inside Mamluk territories and captured it. Although the Odia forces briefly held Lakhnoti, they anticipated that they will be outnumbered by the reinforcements which will come from Delhi Sultanate, and that's why very strategically they retreated to Katasin. Katasin is here, or the modern day Kontai of West Bengal, present day West Bengal. So Katasin is a place which is very fortified and naturally fortified also with thick bushes. And this retreat was also not a random retreat. They have made it in a very clever way. They have created trenches in both the side of the road or the path, so that it will be not easy for the enemy to come in, and also it will be impossible for the enemy to go out very smoothly. So kind of orifice they have created, and also to lure the enemy in that particular path, they have left some unattended elephants, so that the enemy will come, because elephants in Odisha though were abundant, not the case was not same otherwise also. So it was very strategically they retreated to Katasin, and here in Katasin, when the enemy finally came to Katasin, a sudden attack by Narasimha Deva's forces was made to the Mamluks, which ended up in massive enemy slaughter. Minaji Siraj, Minaji Siraj wrote a book that is Tabaqat-e Nasir. It described about this battle, which basically talks about how the Ganga army slaughtered and butchered almost all of the army, and also this incident talks about the horse cavalry forces of Odisha. Many historians talks about that Odisha was not that great with horses, and horses are not native to these places, but that's not true. Yes, in future, in some battles, it might be partially correct, but here by this time we come to know that there is a very strong cavalry forces of Odisha. Also, how to say, after this they again went on and captured Gaur or Lakhnoti. So what are the result? Odia forces permanently seized Lakhnoti. Not only Lakhnoti, but also Fakhr Mulk, the Lakhnoti commander, was killed. Also dissolved Rad, the west of today's West Bengal, and the north, that is Barindra of today's Bangladesh. That was permanently dissolved, this area. So permanently dissolved into Kali's territory. And then some new commander came into Mamluk's place. Also, very interestingly, the Kendupatana bronze inscription described about this event as Rada Varendra Evani Nandanasuru Pureya. It goes on and on. Which basically means the Ganga herself blackened for a great extent by the blood and tears, by the flood of the tears which washed away the surma and kajal from the eyes of the Yavanis of Radha and Varendra, the wife of the Yavanas, of the Radha and Varendra, whose husbands have been killed by Narasimha Deva's army. That was the impact of these two battles. It was not the end. There was another battle as well, the final expedition. In 1247, 5 years after the previous two battles, a new military commander, Ikhtiar Uzbek, aided by the Delhi Sultanate, launched his military campaign against the Odia forces. In his Tabaqat-e Nasir, Minhaj again mentioned that there are two successful initial battles from the Mamluk side, but again the Odia commander Samantara Parvati Deva defeated the Mamluk army. The Mamluk again get resupplied and reinforced by the Delhi Sultanate, and then attacked again. And this battle happened in Umuludan, that is Gadwandaran, today's Jahanabad, in present day West Bengal. Parvati Deva again leading from the front, resisted violently and pushed back the Mamluks, but in this process attended Veeravati become martyred. This incident encouraged the Odia army and never felt before wrath was enthused to the Mamluks. Mamluks halted their progress and never dared to attend for another hundreds of years. So one might ask, see, but the commander-in-chief died. What is the? I mean, it's not a win-win situation, right? It is a win-win for Odias because perhaps because of this event, if you see this map, when Delhi Sultanate at its greatest extent under the Tughlaqs with Malik Kafur when he raided the south, looted and plundered almost the majority of northwest and south of India. The east remained unchallenged. See this map. Forget about pushing the boundaries. They didn't even dare to come for an attack to this side. Also, greatness of Langla Narasimha was so that he gives the Lingaraj temple inscription in fact talk about how he gave shelter to thousands of Hindus of Bengal and other adjacent sultanate who wish to feel the atrocity of the Mamluks and Delhi Sultanate. This was the effect of those three violently fought battles of the army by the army of Kalinga. This is a stone panel from Konarka which described Langla Narasimha Deva practicing bow and arrow. So again, this map is of 1330 and this battle happened in 1250. So just 1242, 43 and then 47. This thing after 50 years also this area keep itself very intact. That was the effect. Not ending yet the Narasimha Deva chapter without discussing about Samantara Paramati Deva. When I said the name of Odia commander Samantara Paramati Deva, does it ring a bell? It have because hope everyone remembered the battle of Severin Island, which we discussed with the Kalachuris, and despite of a complete domination against Kalachuris, Anangbhima Deva in a rarest of the rare move offered the hand of his daughter, Princess Chandrika Devi, in marriage with the brave and dynamic Kalachuri prince. That was none other than Samantara Paramati Deva, that time's Kumar Paramati Deva. And this guy, with his exceptional martial ability, gifted Odisha 3 unbelievable wins, and above all this, finally did supreme sacrifice by martyring in the battlefield. If it is the greatness of Anangbhima Deva and the foresightness of Minister Vishnu, he went into the Ganga Kalachuri respectful marriage alliance. Then it was the greatness of Paramati Deva that he complemented the respect with every bit of its deed. This temple, Ananta Vasudeva Mandira of Bhubaneswar and Deva, was built in his memory by his wife Chandrika Devi. So this is about again all of them find no place in mainstream Indian history, which is very unfortunate. That was about that 12th to 15th century domination. Before ending the talk, I want to touch upon another event. We'll see why I want to touch about this. Going further back into timeline, 1st century before Common Era, that is 2100 almost years ago, just after the debatable phase of Ashokan invasion, when Kalinga was finding its way out of that time, came a very determined king from the royal house of Kalinga, who changed the map and mindset of Kalingan people forever. Aira Maharaj, Kalingadipati, Mahamegavana, Aira Kharava. Now, most of what we know about him, about Samrat Mahamegavana, Aira Kharava, it is from the Hathigumpha inscription. Now, see, this was the vastness of his kingdom again. And again, I mean, if you'll come to Bhubaneswar, we have Dhodi most of every year. Dhodi is a tourist place, and that's how we respect the one time Kalinga's enemy also, because it is a very pan-Indian thing, and that's how Kalinga remembers Samrat Ashoka. But it is it is hypocrisy, I'll say, rather very unfortunate that only 100 years after him came a very dynamic king who from the scratch made it this big, and he find no place in history. Also, anyway, coming back to the topic, there are we found most of things about him from the inscription of Khandagiri and Udayagiri. Also, by his time, we found that women and men both had great skills in martial art, combat, elephant capturing from the murtis of same Khandagiri and Udayagiri caves. This map again, in a detailed way, shows his territorial triumph. Some major cities he has captured. Anyway, not going fully into his legacy, just want to describe one event of his life that happened in the 8th and 9th year of his regime. It comes again from the Hathigumpa inscription of Khandagiri. This is a photography of that. This is why I'm discussing about this. You will come by the end of it. So, with the spirit of revenge, Kalingadipati with a mighty army went to fight his traditional enemy, Magadha. Made it to the gateway, destroyed Guruthagiri, the gateway to Magadha, Magadha's capital, Rajagriha. And he was at the doorstep of Rajagriha. At that time, a Greek king, Yavana Raja, debatably Demetrius. Why I'm saying debatably because the word, 3 letters from the middle water is eroded. That's why many say it is Demetrius, many say someone else. So, debatably, Demetrius was camping around Rajagriha and was chased by Kalingan forces. At this time, Kharavela had 3 options, let's say. One is attack Rajagriha, irrespective of the situation. The second one is wait for the Greeks and the Magadha king to fight among themselves and attack the winner. And as the winner would have also lost men in the war and would have weakened the chances of his winning. So it will be easy to defeat him. And that's how you will win both the kingdom. Or simply shake hand with the Greeks and fight against Magadha. But Kharavela being Kharavela, he chose the 4th option, which proves the ethos of Bharatavarsa in a very big way. He, instead of expedition against Magadha, when it was threatened by another foreign army, or becoming a mute spectator of the war between the Greeks and Indian force, Kharavela attacked the Greeks, chased them away beyond Mathura, and came with a lot of war bounty and also made the Greek king surrender. And then, of course, after a couple of years, he went on again to Magadha, where the Magadha king surrendered. That is another chapter. But this event, this incident happened 2000 plus years before. We have heard in recent days many politicians saying that India is a brainchild of the British. Or before 1947, before the British came, there was no phenomenon of India. But this phenomena which we just discussed was the ethos of Bharatavarsa. Called it Bharatavarsa, some other landmass, Aryavarta, something. But this belongingness to one entity was always there, and this event is a proof of it. And this event is a proof of the nationalistic approach of kings. And apart from the glories and achievements that itself will take 1 hour to talk about Mahamegavan Aira Kharavela. This event is something I thought of sharing with you all, which is all of India should celebrate. Not going to touch about the temple attacks, but see, we know what happened in Babri, we know what happened in Kashi, Mathura, and all, even places in South. But how come the temples of Odisha, especially the Puri Jagannath temple and other parts, were intact, standing tall till now, 1,000-year-old temples? Was that Kalinga never lost its war dominations? No, it has. 1568 fall of Katak happened. But even after that, the Hoi Gajapatis, all these Gajapatis have written, with a minimal army, have given everything of their ability, everything that they can do to fight the temple attacks. and many events happened during that 165 year. There are 13 attacks. There are 4 attacks between before this, yeah, and 1 attack after this. But see, within 2000 year, 18 attacks, and within 165 year of losing domination, 13 attacks. They have given every bit of it. I mean, every attack is a story itself. This can become 1 hour talk or more than that. How with the negligible army, using Samadama, Dandaveda, everything, this temple was saved. Not only this temple, all the temple of Kalinga, many temple of Kalinga, I must say. So before ending the talk, there are many incidents which we are skipping for today's talk. I mean, it will take another 5 hours because what we have discussed only the cherry on the top. But some of the localized royal houses which have equal contribution to Kalinga's history in a pan-Indian perspective. The Nagas of Vindhyatavi, Shatrubhanja, who brought down the Kusanas. Shatrubhanja was the Naga leaders of that time. He was ruling Vindhyatavi, the Keonjhar, Mayurbhanj, that area. I mean, the epicenter of his rule was from there. He was instrumental in overthrowing the foreign origin rulers, Kusanas. Kusanas, no doubt, have their fair share of contribution to Indian history. But frankly, as many historians have pointed out, Kusanas would have gotten an upper hand. If they would have got an upper hand, then forget about the territorial boundaries, the culture, art, architectural speciality which have, sculptures, language, everything would have suffered with a much larger Greek influence than what it has. So in that way, he should be remembered. The Sarlad Movers, Anu Mohan Singh has said that the military administration of the country was vigorous. Madhav Raja 1 and 2 both are great leaders. Madhav 2 was a buffer between Harsha and Pulakeshin. Just think about it. Between 2 great heads, he was the buffer. He had shown excellent statecraft and diplomacy and showcased the how to convert the territory to a buffer state during the conflict between these 2 big heads. So some other day. Vomogaras, we often talk about Razia Sultan and refer her as the first woman monarch of India. But long before that, there was a dynasty with series of queens. Yes, I'm talking about the Bhomagara queens, be it Tribhuvan Mahadevi. On Tribhuvan Mahadevi, there are Persian accounts which have written about her greatness. And not only her, but Prithvi Mahadevi, wife of Maharaja Lalita Haradeva, and then Gauri Mahadevi, Bakula Mahadevi, Dandi Mahadevi, many more queens were there far before what we call the first woman ruler of India. The Matharas, the various tribal chiefs, the Sovansi Kesaris, Chandihara Jati Kesari, all of them deserve our attention, but maybe some other day. Also, not to forget, the general perception that was first major revolt against the British happened in 1857. But far before that, in 1804, then 1826, 1817, 1836, 1837, there was a strong Viplava, a revolt happened from Odisha, which again nobody talks nowadays. But anyway, this also deserves our attention. Before ending, a bit about the books I have referred. Anyone want to refer can refer here, or if the video will come out, can pause and take a note if you want to read. Gajapati. This is a very new book, Gajapati Kalinga by Niyananda. Tales of the Past by Shivaji Mahapatra. Glimpses of Kalinga history by Manmata Das. Inscription of Odisha by S.N. Rajaguru. The S.N. Rajaguru. History of Odisha, R.D. Banerjee, many more. I mean, you can read all of them. Image sources I've from wherever I've taken the images. Before ending, a bit about myself. As I've already said, my name is Soumya Panda. I run a small Instagram page, Torani Wine. Torani is a local delicacy of Odisha. And this mostly I put out my thoughts, findings, and from various books or my own findings in this page. So anyone want to know more about Odisha's history, most welcome. Also, we arrange events, heritage events. So I don't like to call them heritage work, but me and some like-minded people, we go to places for now near Puri, Bhubaneswar, and then Cuttack. Uh, Sit there, discuss a bit about that place, try to find out new stuff about that, do a bit of brainstorming. So any of you coming near Bhubaneswar in some days can approach us. This is my mail ID, turanibaban@gmail.com. Anything good, bad about this talk, kindly write back. I'll happy to read them. Any queries about Odisha's be it martial legacy, cultural, art, linguistic, anything you want to discuss, I'm reachable here. And that's all. That's before ending. Yeah, these are some pictures of capitals are different. Calling us capital at different time. I've tried to compile. So yeah, that's all. That's my time. Dhanyavad. Thank you. Jai Jagannath. Vande Utkala Janani. Vande Mataram. Thank you.